Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. Sherry strolled down the unfamiliar street next to Helen's Bridal Boutique. Business trips often led to unexpected discoveries, and this charming shop nestled between a bustling cafe and a vintage bookstore caught her eye. The elaborate wedding gowns displayed in the window beckoned to her, their intricate lace patterns and shimmering fabrics a siren call to her hidden desires. Sherry hesitated, her hand hovering over the door handle. The suit she wore felt constricting, a reminder of the persona she presented to the world. But beneath the crisp white shirt and tailored jacket beat the heart of someone who longed to embrace a different side of themselves. Taking a deep breath, Sherry pushed open the door. A gentle chime announced her arrival, and the scent of lavender and vanilla enveloped her. Racks of wedding dresses in various styles lined the walls, their white and ivory hues creating a dreamy atmosphere. "Welcome to Helen's Bridal Boutique!" A cheerful voice rang out from behind a counter adorned with delicate floral arrangements. A woman in her early 30s with auburn hair and a warm smile approached. "I'm Candace. How can I help you today?" Sherry's throat tightened. I'm just browsing," she managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. Candace's eyes sparkled with understanding. "Of course. Feel free to look around. We have a wide selection of styles to suit every taste." As Sherry moved through the shop, her fingers trailing over soft tulle and smooth satin, she felt a sense of longing wash over her. The dresses represented more than just wedding attire. They symbolized a freedom to express herself in a way she rarely allowed. "See anything you like?" Another voice, older and filled with wisdom, came from the back of the store. An elegant woman in her 60s emerged, her silver hair swept into a chic updo. "I'm Helen, the owner. You have a good eye for fashion, I can tell." Sherry's cheeks flushed. "Thank you. These dresses are beautiful." Helen and Candace exchanged a knowing glance. "You know," Helen began, her tone gentle and encouraging, "we're always looking for models to help us showcase our new designs. Would you be interested?" The offer caught Sherry off guard. Her heart raced at the possibility, but fear gripped her. I'm not sure I'd be suitable," she stammered. Candace stepped closer, her voice lowered conspiratorially. "We welcome all kinds of models here. Our shop is a judgment-free zone. If you'd like to try on a dress, we'd be more than happy to assist you." Sherry's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and gratitude flooding her features. "Really? You wouldn't mind?" Helen placed a reassuring hand on Sherry's shoulder. "Of course not, dear. Beauty comes in all forms, and we celebrate that here." With trembling hands, Sherry reached out to touch a stunning A-line gown with intricate beadwork. "Could I maybe try this one?" "Absolutely," Candace beamed, carefully removing the dress from the rack. "The fitting room is right this way. Take your time and let us know if you need any help." As Sherry disappeared into the fitting room, Helen turned to her daughter. "That was kind of you, Candace. I think we might have just made someone's day." Candace nodded, a soft smile playing on her lips. "Everyone deserves to feel beautiful, Mom. You taught me that." Inside the fitting room, Sherry's hands shook as she carefully removed her suit. The silky fabric of the wedding gown felt cool against her skin as she slipped it on. With each movement, the beads caught the light, creating a mesmerizing dance of sparkles. "How's it going in there?" Candace called out gently. "Do you need any assistance?" Sherry took a deep breath. "I think I've got it on, but I'm not sure about the zipper." "May I come in to help?" After a moment's hesitation, Sherry replied, "Yes, please." Candace entered the fitting room, her expression one of pure delight as she saw Sherry in the gown. "Oh my goodness, you look stunning! Here, let me help with the zipper." As Candace carefully zipped up the back of the dress, Sherry felt a wave of emotion wash over her. The person staring back from the mirror was a version of herself she'd only dreamed of seeing. "There!" Candace said, stepping back to admire the result. "You look absolutely beautiful. Would you like to show my mom?" Sherry nodded, unable to find words. As she stepped out of the fitting room, Helen gasped in delight. "My dear, you are a vision! That dress was made for you!" Tears welled up in Sherry's eyes as she twirled in front of the full-length mirror. The gown hugged her body, the beadwork catching the light and creating an ethereal glow. I've never felt like this before," Sherry whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Helen approached, her eyes twinkling. "You know, we're having a bridal fashion show next week. Would you consider being one of our models?" Sherry's heart skipped a beat. "Me? In a fashion show?" Candace clapped her hands excitedly. "Oh, yes! You'd be perfect! We're showcasing a diverse range of models, and you have such a wonderful presence." The idea both thrilled and terrified Sherry. "I don't know. I've never done anything like that before." "There's a first time for everything," Helen said kindly, "and we'll be here to support you every step of the way." Sherry looked at her reflection once more, seeing a glimpse of the person she'd always wanted to be. With a deep breath, she made her decision. "Okay, I'll do it." The next week flew by in a whirlwind of fittings and preparations. Sherry visited the boutique every evening after her business meetings, working with Candace and Helen to select the perfect gowns and accessories for the show. As the day of the fashion show arrived, Sherry found herself backstage, surrounded by a flurry of activity. Makeup artists and hairstylists bustled about, transforming the models into visions of bridal beauty. "How are you feeling?" Candace asked, appearing at Sherry's side with a comforting smile. "Nervous?" Sherry admitted, fidgeting with the lace sleeve of her first gown, a classic ball gown with a sweetheart neckline and a cascade of ruffles. "That's perfectly normal," Candace reassured her. "But remember, you're going to be amazing. Just be yourself and let your inner beauty shine through." As the show began, Sherry's heart pounded in her chest. She watched as the other models gracefully glided down the runway, each showcasing a unique and stunning bridal look. "You're up next, dear," Helen whispered, giving Sherry a gentle push towards the curtain. Taking a deep breath, Sherry stepped onto the runway. The bright lights momentarily blinded her, but as her eyes adjusted, she saw the crowd of spectators watching with rapt attention. With each step, Sherry felt a transformation taking place. The nerves melted away, replaced by a sense of confidence and joy. She reached the end of the runway, paused to strike a pose, and felt a surge of exhilaration as the audience applauded. As she made her way backstage for a quick change, Candace was there to help her into the next gown, a sleek, form-fitting mermaid style with intricate lace detailing. "You were fantastic!" Candace exclaimed as she zipped up the dress. "The audience loved you." Sherry's cheeks flushed with pride. "I can't believe I'm actually doing this. It feels like a dream." The rest of the show passed in a blur of beautiful gowns, sparkling accessories, and thunderous applause. Sherry modeled 3 more dresses, each one making her feel more radiant and confident than the last. As the finale approached, Helen gathered all the models backstage. "Ladies, you've all been wonderful. For our final walk, I want you to really let your personalities shine through. Show the audience the joy and beauty of being a bride." Sherry took her place in line, wearing the same dress she had first tried on in the boutique. As the music swelled and the models began their final procession, she felt a sense of belonging she'd never experienced before. Halfway down the runway, Sherry caught sight of her reflection in a mirror positioned at the end of the catwalk. The person looking back at her was radiant, confident, and unabashedly herself. In that moment, Sherry realized that this experience had given her more than just the chance to wear beautiful dresses. It had given her the courage to embrace her true self. As the show came to a close, the audience rose to their feet in a standing ovation. Backstage, the models hugged and congratulated each other, riding high on the adrenaline and excitement of the event. Helen and Candace found Sherry amidst the chaos, both women beaming with pride. "You were absolutely magnificent," Helen said, pulling Sherry into a warm embrace. "Thank you," Sherry replied, her voice thick with emotion. "Thank you both for giving me this opportunity. I never thought I could do something like this." Candace squeezed Sherry's hand. "You've always had it in you. We just gave you the stage to let it shine." As the excitement of the show began to wind down, Sherry changed back into her everyday clothes. But something had shifted within her. The confidence and joy she'd felt on the runway lingered, a newfound strength that she knew would stay with her long after she left the boutique. Before leaving, Sherry approached Helen and Candace one last time. "I don't know how to thank you both for everything you've done for me," she said, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Helen smiled warmly. "You don't need to thank us, dear. Seeing you blossom and embrace your true self is thanks enough." Candace nodded in agreement. "You're always welcome here, Sherry. Whether you're looking for another dress or just want to chat, our door is always open." As Sherry stepped out of the boutique and into the cool evening air, she felt like a different person than the one who had first stumbled upon Helen's bridal boutique. The experience had shown her that there was a place in the world where she could be fully herself, without judgment or fear. With a smile on her face and a spring in her step, Sherry walked down the street, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. She knew that no matter what, she would always carry with her the memory of the day she truly found herself, draped in white lace and walking down a runway, finally at home in her own skin. In the weeks that followed, Sherry found herself thinking often about her experience at Helen's bridal boutique. The confidence she had gained during the fashion show began to seep into other areas of her life. At work, she spoke up more in meetings, her ideas flowing with a newfound assurance. In her personal life, she started to explore her identity more openly, gradually introducing her true self to trusted friends and family members. One sunny Saturday afternoon, Sherry decided to pay another visit to the boutique. As she pushed open the door, the familiar chime welcomed her like an old friend. Candace looked up from arranging a display of veils and broke into a wide smile. "Sherry, it's so wonderful to see you again." Sherry returned the smile, feeling instantly at ease. "Hi, Candace. I hope you don't mind me dropping by." "Of course not! You're always welcome here." Candace gestured for Sherry to join her at the counter. "How have you been since the show?" As Sherry settled onto a plush stool, she found herself opening up about the changes in her life. "It's been transformative," she admitted. "I feel like I'm finally starting to live as my authentic self." Candace listened attentively, her eyes shining with genuine interest and care. "That's wonderful to hear, Sherry. I'm so glad the experience had such a positive impact on you." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Helen, who emerged from the back room carrying a garment bag. Her face lit up when she saw Sherry. "What a lovely surprise. I was just thinking about you the other day." Sherry stood to greet Helen with a warm hug. "It's great to see you, Helen. I hope I'm not interrupting anything." Helen waved away her concern. "Not at all, dear. In fact, your timing is perfect. We just received a new collection of evening gowns that I think you'd love to see." Sherry's eyes widened with interest. "Evening gowns?" Candace nodded enthusiastically. "We're expanding our inventory to include formal wear for all occasions. Would you like to see them?" Without hesitation, Sherry agreed. As Helen and Candace unveiled the new collection, Sherry found herself drawn to a stunning emerald green gown with a plunging neckline and a daring thigh-high slit. "That color would look amazing on you," Candace observed, noticing Sherry's interest. Helen nodded in agreement. "Why don't you try it on? We'd love to see how it looks." Feeling a flutter of excitement, Sherry took the dress and headed to the fitting room. As she slipped into the silky fabric, she marveled at how far she'd come in such a short time. Just weeks ago, the idea of trying on a dress in broad daylight would have terrified her. Now it felt natural and empowering. When Sherry emerged from the fitting room, both Helen and Candace gasped in admiration. "Oh, Sherry," Helen breathed. You look absolutely stunning." Candace circled Sherry, adjusting the drape of the fabric here and there. "This dress was made for you. The cut, the color, it's perfect." Sherry turned to look at herself in the full-length mirror and felt a rush of emotions. The person staring back at her was confident, glamorous, and undeniably herself. "I love it," she whispered. Helen cleared her throat, a twinkle in her eye.
"You know, Sherry, we're planning another event next month. It's a charity gala to raise funds for a local women's shelter. We'll be showcasing our new evening wear collection, and we'd be honored if you'd consider modeling for us again."
Sherry's heart leapt at the opportunity. "Really? You'd want me to be part of it?" Candace placed a gentle hand on Sherry's arm. "Of course we would. You were a hit at the bridal show, and more importantly, you bring a unique energy and presence to the runway." Looking down at the beautiful gown she wore, Sherry felt a sense of purpose wash over her. "I'd be honored to participate," she said, her voice filled with determination. Over the next few weeks, Sherry threw herself into preparations for the gala. She attended fittings, practiced her walk, and even took some basic makeup classes to enhance her skills. With each passing day, she felt more comfortable in her own skin, both on and off the runway. The night of the gala arrived, and the atmosphere backstage was electric. Models, makeup artists, and stylists bustled about, putting the finishing touches on each look. Sherry stood before a mirror, barely recognizing the glamorous woman who stared back at her. Her hair was styled in elegant waves, her makeup flawless, and she wore a breathtaking royal blue gown with intricate beadwork that sparkled under the lights. "You ready?" Candace appeared at her side, looking resplendent in a champagne-colored sheath dress. Sherry took a deep breath and nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be." As the music started and the first models took to the runway, Sherry felt a familiar mix of nerves and excitement. But this time, the nerves were overshadowed by a strong sense of purpose. She wasn't just modeling beautiful clothes, she was representing a message of inclusivity and self-acceptance. When it was her turn, Sherry stepped onto the runway with confidence. The lights were bright, the music pulsing, and the audience watched with rapt attention. As she glided down the catwalk, Sherry felt truly alive. She posed at the end of the runway, allowing the photographers to capture the moment before making her graceful exit. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of quick changes, more walks down the runway, and enthusiastic applause. As the final notes of music faded and the last model left the stage, there was a palpable sense of triumph backstage. Helen gathered all the models together, her eyes shining with pride. "Ladies, you were all absolutely magnificent. Thanks to your efforts, we've raised a substantial amount for the women's shelter." There were cheers and hugs all around. Sherry found herself swept up in the celebration, feeling a deep sense of belonging among this diverse and supportive group of women. As the excitement began to die down and people started to disperse, Candace approached Sherry with a mysterious smile. "There's someone who'd like to meet you," she said, gesturing towards an elegantly dressed woman waiting nearby. Sherry followed Candace, curious and a little nervous. The woman turned as they approached, and Sherry recognized her as the director of the women's shelter they had been raising funds for. "Sherry, I'd like you to meet Maria Gonzalez," Candace introduced them. "Maria, this is Sherry, one of our star models." Maria extended her hand, her grip firm and warm. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Sherry. I was incredibly moved by your presence on the runway tonight." Sherry felt a blush creep up her cheeks. "Thank you. That's very kind of you to say." Maria's eyes were intense as she continued. "I was wondering if you might be interested in speaking at some of our shelter events. Your journey of self-acceptance and empowerment could be incredibly inspiring to many of the women we serve." Sherry was taken aback by the request. "Me? Speak at events?" Candace squeezed Sherry's arm encouragingly. "You have a powerful story to tell, Sherry. Think of the impact you could have." As Sherry considered the offer, she realized that this was an opportunity to give back, to help others who might be struggling with their own identities or self-worth. It was a chance to turn her personal journey into something that could benefit others. With a deep breath, Sherry nodded.
I'd be honored to help in any way I can.
Maria's face lit up with a warm smile. Wonderful. We'll be in touch to discuss the details. As Maria moved away to speak with other attendees, Sherry turned to Candace, feeling slightly overwhelmed.
Did that really just happen?
Candace laughed softly. It did. You're making a real difference, Sherry. Not just in your own life, but in the lives of others, too. The realization of how far she'd come in such a short time hit Sherry all at once. From the nervous person who had first entered Helen's bridal boutique to someone who was now being asked to inspire others, it was a transformation she never could have imagined. As the evening wound down and the last of the guests departed, Sherry found herself standing outside the venue with Helen and Candace. The night air was cool and refreshing after the heat of the spotlights. Helen pulled Sherry into a warm embrace. You were magnificent tonight, my dear. Truly magnificent. Sherry felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. I can't thank you both enough for everything you've done for me. You've changed my life. Candace shook her head, her expression serious. We just provided the opportunity, Sherry. You're the one who had the courage to seize it and make it your own. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more wonderful content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.